Alright guys, I kind of want to do a little damage report because I had a few people kind of wondering exactly what happened with this, and this, you know, this is my guess. You know, it's as best I can figure out on it. But we had the cooling tin that goes underneath of number 3 and 4 cylinder. When I was taking the motor apart, I noticed that it wasn't under this side, and it's important for that to be there because it directs the air that comes up over top of the engine, or up over top of the cylinders. It directs it down and around the bottom of these. And you can see, let me adjust the camera here, and you can see how hot these got. There's a color difference as opposed to the other side. You can see how hot this cylinder got. We even had the cooling fins that were breaking off, just letting go. Let me get the piece of cooling tin that I'm referring to real quick so you can kind of get a better understanding. Now this is the cooling tin. It's important for it to go under here, and it clips underneath of the cylinder. I think I've got it backwards here. It clips underneath the cylinder, underneath the cylinders like that, directing the airflow. Now this wasn't on this side. Somebody left it off. Well, we have, when I took this piston off, there was a little bit of the snap ring groove left on this side, and that snap ring was in there. On this side, there's no groove. The snap ring was gone, and my guess is that this snap ring came out, somehow managed to dig its way through this side and just ground everything up. The snap ring was in this side. There's a little bit of the groove left, you can see here and here inside of there. You can see the snap ring groove. On this side, there's none. There's no snap ring groove whatsoever. And I believe that snap ring came out of there and just ground its way through. And if you look inside the cylinder, there's enough room for where, I don't know if you can see how deep that divot is, for it to pass by the piston, get in the other side, and just wreak havoc. And I believe it all started. I believe it all started over this tin not being there and overheating. It looks like an insignificant piece of metal, but if it's not in there, as it wasn't on under 3 and 4, you're going to have a lot of heat and a lot of trouble. So, alright gang, what I need to do, I need to get all the parts off this generator that I'm going to need, and then I got to get everything cleaned up. What I am going to be needing, I'll need my shims and my pulleys off here. Then I'm going to have to flip it over, and I've got to get this nut off here. I'll need my fan and my backing plate, and the strip generator I'm just going to take and put my parts pile, and that should do that. But this has got to be painted, and I will be using the fan obviously and the pulley, so that's really the point. I'm just putting an alternator in place of the generator. I'm just using a pulley here. I put the nut on here to keep it from walking because I don't have the right end for this, and I'm just using this puller to ease that rear part of that pulley off there. I've run out of where I use that nut to keep it from walking. I've run out of threads, so I'm going to have to go ahead and take that off there. These usually, they're really pretty easy to get off, these pulleys. There we go. Now I got parts of my pulley. And you want to make sure you keep this Woodruff key right here. Okay. You got that nut off. That's using the 36mm socket again there to get that nut off with. You want to watch how you take this apart. You'll need to put it back the same way. It's got kind of a spring-loaded, I guess you say, washer that goes on there, and then you've got a series of washers here, the couple of shims. So just kind of remember the way you take it apart. We'll get those cleaned up. There's 2 more shims right here. Alright, now we can get our fan. And then you've got there's your adapter on the back of that. We'll have to get all that off and get these nuts off, and then we'll have our should have our alternator stripped at that point. Okay, gang, this is the new style alternator. I believe it's 85 amp. I'm not sure. A fairly new one. But you can see I need that adapter right here. I need this for this. And like I say, these keys will fall out, so remember to keep tabs on your keys. Alright guys, get this adapter off the back here. What I did, I just took a screwdriver between it and the generator and got enough of a crack going to where I could get something a little larger, like a cold chisel, and tap that back, and I finally got a crack between the generator and the adapter enough to where I could get a pulley on it. We're going to go ahead and pull this guy off here. Alright guys, that just left us with our 2 nuts on the back, nuts and your washers there, and now we have our backing plate, which is in pieces. You've got this piece here goes in between, then you've got the top plate. So, well, it goes that way, goes on one way. So I'm going to take all this, I can get all this cleaned up and painted, and the generator is going to go in my parts pile. What I'm doing, guys, I'm just going to get the majority of this old grease and dirt off here. I'd rather it be in the trash than in the bottom of my parts washer. And after I get the majority of it off, I can take it to the parts washer and just kind of finish it off. And before I try to paint it, prime it, paint it, I can just go over it with a little bit of mineral spirits to make sure I got any oil, you know, the oil film off of it, so it'll take a good coat of paint. And be well on our way to getting our tins painted up for our new engine.